For the first time in club history, Cavalry FC walked into the offseason as Canadian Premier League champions, as this side had a delightful victory over their biggest rivals in Forge FC, which saw them prevent Forge from doing the three-peat and the first ever three-peat in Canadian Premier League history, and more importantly, got Tommy Wheeldon Jr. and Cavalry FC that all-important Canadian Premier League championship and that first ever win in the CPL final. But that all came off the back of an incredible regular season, where Cavalry FC managed to finish in second place on 48 points, but what was even more exciting was this side won 12, drew 12, and only lost 4 games. And losing 4 games for me is absolutely astonishing because this comes in a 28 game season, and a season in a league which has so much travel. In this big, massive country, Cavalry FC and all clubs have to travel all over. And to only lose 4 games off the back of, I'm sure, a lot of jet lag is truly amazing for any club, and it was great to see Cavalry FC only lose 4 games across a 28 game season. But that came off the back of a very good attacking line and back line, because goal scoring was no trouble for Cavalry FC in 2024, as they scored 39 goals, and their top goal scorer, of course, being Tobias Warchevsky, scoring 12 goals, coming up clutch in some major moments throughout the playoffs for this Cavalry side. Tobias Warchevsky showed why he is an incredible player for Cavalry and a huge X-Factor player for this Cavalry FC side. But they scored goals for fun and scored goals when it mattered. But when they couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, when they couldn't get that second goal to kill off games, their back line held them in, as they only allowed 27 goals across 28 games with a plus 12 goal differential. This Cavalry FC side was solid from back to front, and those 2 center backs and that goalkeeper were the massive reason for it all, in Dan Klomp, Eric Kobza, and Marco Carducci. That back 3 right there held them in and played incredibly well. Their leadership, young talent, and truly winning experience, this Cavalry FC side were able to have an incredible season off the back of a strong back line and very good forward line. As well, they now carried that into the offseason, where they had maybe the best offseason in terms of keeping their squad, because other sides throughout the CPL went out, retooled, rejigged, and even rebuilded their squads. And that some of the sides even lost 9 to 10 players and brought in anywhere from 7 to 10 plus players. And Cavalry did the absolute opposite compared to what most Canadian Premier League sides did. They didn't have to rejig, they didn't have to retool or anywhere close to it. And this was a side who won the Canadian Championship. They didn't have to worry about that, because Tommy Wheeldon Jr. and Cavalry FC were able to keep their core, their best players, and even add to it, as they only lost 5 players post-winning the Canadian Championship, as well as bringing in 3 players. There wasn't major change. There wasn't a major addition, really, to this squad. They brought in a big player, yes, I apologize, but this squad didn't have a major overhaul, which is huge post-winning a title like the Canadian Premier League final. And it is great for the manager and Tommy Wheeldon Jr. because he doesn't have to go out and change his tactical outlook, his tactical philosophy, and reteach it to 9 or 10 players. The players he has in the squad already knows what he wants, already knows what he expects from them day in, day out. And that is huge to keep your core, to keep your main squad, and is big for them going into 2025. But the players they have lost, yes, there was 2 key ones, and of course Dan Klomp, who left and is a big loss, but I do believe they have a center back there who can replace him to a certain level. It won't be to the same level as Dan Klomp, of course, but I believe Callum Montgomery, who is already there, will do a very good job slotting in and replacing for Dan Klomp. And yes, Dan Klomp is still a major loss to that backline of last season, but I think Tommy Wheeldon Jr., not having going out and replacing him, shows that Callum Montgomery in his eyes is a good enough replacement. As well, losing some forwards in the likes of William Akio, Malcolm Shaw, and Lowell Wright, who is still without a club, and another key one in Charlie Trafford. Charlie Trafford's finally hung up the boots after many years of professional football. It is a big loss. It is a winner who is lost and a player with much experience who has that Cavalry DNA, but still, they have addressed it by bringing a crucial midfielder in. And I absolutely love their business. Like I said, keeping your squad, only losing a few, and bringing in some. As they brought in a young Canadian left back from Vancouver Whitecaps on loan. And I apologize because I cannot say his surname, as his first name is Mihail, and he is a young 20-year-old left back from Vancouver Whitecaps on loan. But further up the pitch, the signing that is very exciting in Michael Baldissimo brings in lots of experience from the MLS with Vancouver Whitecaps and San Jose Earthquakes, and is proven. Yes, he maybe couldn't hit the heights at the MLS, but comes to the Canadian Premier League, and I'm sure will hit the ground running and prove and show his talent at this league. And that is a major signing for Cavalry FC. They lost a player in Charlie Trafford and bring in someone who arguably might just be better. And Michael Baldissimo will be a huge signing for this already very strong Cavalry FC midfield. And up front, they bring in Alva, who's an exciting winger who brings in more depth to this Cavalry FC side as well. But their squad is incredible. It is an amazing Cavalry FC squad, and to be able to hold on to all your big players post-winning the title is huge. Because you keep a player like Marco Carducci, who is, if not the best goalkeeper in the league, is definitely up there as a top two. An incredible goalkeeper in the Canadian Premier League. You have a solid back two now in Callum Montgomery and Eric Kobza. You have decent fullbacks. That might be the weakest part of the squad, but it isn't weak at all. Then you move to the midfield with so much talent and so much depth, and they kept their players in Shamit Shom, Diego Gutierrez, Daly, Fraser Aird, Sergio Camargo, Jay Herdman, who joins now on a permanent after that loan deal, as well as Alva. This team is deep and loads of quality in depth at midfield, and up front, keeping their key players in Ali Musi and Tobias Warchevsky. Massive players to keep and massive players to hold on to. But for my standout player for Cavalry FC, I think it's got to be Eric Kobza. You lose Dan Klomp, you're going to need your center back to rise up to the occasion to show why he was warranting all of that transfer interest last year at 23 years old. And Eric Kobza is going to have to continue to rise to the occasion and to improve his level without his partner in crime in Dan Klomp, and show Callum Montgomery and that back line that they're going to be as strong last year, and to carry that form into 2025. And yes, you could say your standout player is going to be Ali Musi, is going to be Tobias Warshevsky, but that's the obvious one. Yes, they're going to score goals. Yes, they're going to hit form again, but you got to go with someone fresh, someone new, and it's going to be Eric Kobza. And for young Canadians, well, they brought in a lot of young Canadian talent through their academy systems, but I truly don't know a lot about them. They don't have a Shola Jimo. They don't have a Ronan Krad. They don't have an Ivan Pavella or anyone of that level of Canadian hype. So for me, I'm going to say their newest loan signing in Mihail, and I can't say his last name. He's Moldovan-Canadian dual national, and it'll be very interesting to see how he can play at left back for this Cavalry side. So he'll be my young Canadian who I'm very excited for this Cavalry FC side. And let me know your guys' standout players and young Canadians you're excited for Cavalry FC. But my standing predictions for Cavalry will be first place. I feel like this squad is so ready to go out there and win the regular season, and possibly to go out there and do the double. Yes, the playoffs are a different beast, because usually a team that hits form can take a run at a title, which hasn't been the case in the Canadian Premier League, but that can be a case in any league. So a team that is on form, a team without injuries, and a team absolutely riding form could have a chance at the playoffs. So that's why I'm not fully predicting the playoffs, but I think they could do the double. But right now, I have Cavalry winning the league. I think it's the most obvious bet. They held onto their squad. They held onto all their key players. Tommy Wheeldon Jr., for me, is the best manager in the league right now per squad, and dollar for dollar, he just has the best managerial outlook in my opinion. I think he's a fantastic manager and works worldies with the squads at his hands. But I really like this team. I really like the manager. And this side, I have finishing in first place. Guys, let me know your thoughts, comments, and predictions down below. I'm also going to try and do a 2025 CPL predictions video, giving you guys my top goal scorer, young player of the year, wrapping up my standing predictions as well. Let me know if you want to see that one, but make sure to smash that like button. It really helps with the video as well as the channel. Smash that sub button because we're so close to 600 subscribers, and the support has absolutely been incredible on the channel, and I really appreciate seeing the support on the CPL previews for something I've never done on the channel before. So it means the world, and I really appreciate the support on the channel as well as the CPL content. But I'll see you guys for the next one. Peace.